So, hi, Will Noise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with,
Eric Nally from Foxy Shazam.
and we have some questions to say about the new album, Animality Opera. So, congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to it so far?
Um, I feel great. I haven't really looked at the response because, I don't, it doesn't matter. It's um, I hope everybody's enjoying it, but at the same time, like, I am just staying in the creative realm.
Yeah, you're someone that doesn't venture into the comments at all. It's bad for like your mental.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's bad because I like to hear what people have to say, but I think like it's more of like a creative thing. I think when I'm in a certain place making music, I don't do that. But then like, there's a time and place where I'm like, I wonder what people are saying.
Yeah. So,
Gotcha.
post album release, you're still kind of in that creative realm.
Yeah, I'm writing every day,
Mm.
all the time. So I guess that's kind of the thing where it's like there never really is time to check the comments.
Yeah, because you're always writing.
And,
Exactly.
and that's okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Exactly.
Well, we'll
Good.
tell you to your face, the album is fucking awesome.
It is incredible.
Thanks.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
Hell yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. It means a lot. I think yeah, that's the personal information or like the personal hearing that from you guys is awesome. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Of course, yeah. So, is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
The cover art is actually I actually made that and I drew it on a piece of cardboard. And like there's something about cardboard in this record. I don't know what it is, but it's just kind of been this inspiration to me the whole time. As
Mhm.
far as tone, like I pretended that our kick drum was a cardboard box. And like as far as tone goes, and
Mhm.
I recorded the drum kit with an iPhone and just put it on a canvas. And it just had this cardboardy feel. So
Huh.
I kind of the artwork I tried to get as much cardboard in the artwork as possible with like the video stuff and the cover itself is made from a cardboard box and I had a paint marker and just wrote that on it and drew some stuff with it as well. Then put it into the computer and made it even brighter and stuff, different
Yeah,
color.
that's really cool. Wait, so forgive me if I'm misinterpreting what you're saying. You said you recorded the drums on your phone with your phone mic, the final drums?
Yeah, all the drums so I have my drum kit set up in this room that's a
Mhm.
very small room and it's treated, but then I have this canvas and it's actually, hang on, I'm gonna get it for you.
Okay.
Okay.
This is by,
Oh,
it's a Spanish artist
Mhm.
yeah.
and they painted it for me a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Mhm.
And it's like the cover of Church of Rock and Roll.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I set my iPhone like this
Mhm.
on the canvas,
Okay.
Oh.
right behind my drum kit,
Mhm.
and then I played, and I think there's something about the way that this resonated with
Yeah.
the wood. Like there's something just cardboard tone about it, and that just got me going, and it kind of caught me as some kind of inspiration that I could run with.
That is really cool. That's definitely very unique that I don't think many people can say they've done for their records. That's a sound that's, again, very unique and hard to kind of pick out, I guess.
Yeah, and it kind of came from not overthinking it or letting anything limit us. Like I think we just wanted to capture something in the moment and
Mm-hmm.
be true to that and make it as awesome as it can be. It's really just about it puts it all in the sense of the playing and the emotion and everything, and then the tone is kind of I don't know, it's just something there in the moment that you go with and it makes it special. And then I just airdropped it to the session and that's what you hear and we obviously compressed it and treated it and all that, but I mean the iPhone has a cool mic anyway, so
Yeah,
True.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's fucking awesome. All right.
And is there any meaning behind the album title?
Mhm.
it was kind of like tapping into this primitive intuition, like the Animality Opera. I mean, Flamingo Trigger was Foxy Shazam's first album, and it came out in like 2004, I think,
Mhm.
or 2000. Yeah, I can't remember, but
That's fair enough.
it was our first album,
Yeah.
and there's a song on it called The French Passion of Animality Opera.
Mhm.
So there's a little nod to
Hmm.
the first record, and that's where animality kind of came from. That word has always been floating in my in my consciousness for some
Hmm.
reason, and I don't know why. So I thought, well, why don't I kind of like pull from something that's from the first thing that we ever did, and just let that kind of be what I don't know, it's always been there, so I just kind of built an opera around it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about the writing process for the album?
We did it in a basically in this room,
Hmm.
like we kind of wrote everything in the studio, um, and put it together in a really, you know, we recorded everything here, and from album to album it's different. We do a different process for every record. So I think we basically just got got together from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day and wrote, and a lot of times we'd write a song a day, or sometimes we'd not.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
we wrote a lot more than we have on the record.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, but it was just really fun, like, using the stuff you have.
Yeah.
I think that's a theme. That's a theme of the record, is using your own means, like
Hmm.
don't let anything stop you production wise, because that stuff is cool, but like anything can be cool in that realm.
Hmm. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Did you guys do any other fun production things like outside of the box, like the iPhone, recording the drums with the iPhone? Was there anything else like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, giving the cardboard box theme, I kind of went with like this scrappy feel. Like I was pretending that we were in the jungle in a boxing ring. And
Okay.
like I still want to film this video, but like I just feel like it's a hot night and it's sweaty and we're in a boxing ring in the
Mhm.
jungle, and maybe there's nobody there. I don't know, but it's this scrappy within your own means, like, but there's a power to that. I think there's like this, and it harps back to the animality, like, this kind of ancient instinct that
Mhm.
if you tap into you don't think about anything else, and it just gives you the power to express this in a certain way. So I think that was my vision, the whole record, my visual in terms of inspiration, and then from that it like led to us just being really scrappy with things, and like putting the power in ourselves as opposed to equipment. And
Mhm.
I think that kind of like enabled us to reach these like sonics that
Mhm.
that were inhibited by any kind of like second guessing.
That's so interesting. So, going into the writing process for this record, was that kind of your main intentions, to kind of just think outside the box and kind of place yourself or unlock that inner animal instinct, I guess? Was that your mindset, your
Ye-
headspace?
I think, yeah, I mean, in terms of, it's not necessarily animal as it is like for me, as it is like um instinctual.
Mhm.
Like, because humans, well, I guess humans are animals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that in that sense, like yes, it's just like this very primitive instinct that I think we all have, that is, but I'm kind of referencing it in terms of music. Where
Yeah.
where can that creatively, not necessarily like going back and like hitting people with bones, or something. It's
Yeah,
like
no, not that far back. Yeah, no.
it's more about like trusting something that is inside myself and the guys in the band, and us
Mhm,
creatively as an entity,
mhm,
like and not really relying on anything and or letting anything get in our way.
mhm,
And like I gotta stress this is that like every album it can be different. So it's like being open to anything. Like there's a lot in store for this year. We that I don't want to say right now, but like how I kind of told you, like I'm always just in creative mode. It's like
mhm,
these are my favorite things about making records is to kind of inhabit like certain visions for each record.
mhm,
And with that vision comes a production technique,
mhm.
uh art, the creative the visuals,
Mhm.
um concepts, all that stuff. And that's like I love that. That's what I live for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just it's all about trusting your intuition, your kind of gut instincts with everything then.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's that's awesome.
Yeah. Damn straight. That is awesome. That's all you, man.
Yeah.
So what song off the album took the longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
I can't really say that I have a favorite, um, because I feel like it's every every so often we write a record that really feels like it needs to be heard as a record.
Mhm.
I
Mhm,
mean, all our records have, you can play it, you can listen through and it's enjoyable. But I think like some you can jump around in, more than others. I feel like this one has a very, like Gonzo would be another example of a record I feel like you have to kind of hear in its entirety.
mhm.
Um, so for me, this record has that weight to it of like this kind of full record. So I
Gotcha.
kind of think of every song as like the same thing.
Mhm,
It's like kind of a continuous song, but it's broken up into 11 parts.
Okay.
mhm. Word.
And was there one that took the longest to write?
Time goes away for me. Like
So
when I'm writing, I feel like I don't time doesn't exist, and
mhm,
so the process of writing them kind of takes days or maybe, within the time of a year, I'm like always thinking about lyrics, and they're always or I'm not thinking about it, but I'm ready to receive.
Yeah.
And it's like that happens the whole time, the whole process, and in the shower, in the studio, when I'm running, when I'm doing random yard work or anything, it's like
mhm,
it just comes, and so the process is always happening. So it's hard for me to put a to remember or to like be like this is when it started and this is when it ended in terms of like length of writing, because it kind of like it's all being written over the course of a certain period, and then it all comes together at the end,
mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you get lost in it. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So how'd the track list for the album come about? Did you guys write the opener be the opener, closer be a closer, just shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
So Rumbatorium was kind of the flagpole song to me. And remember when I mentioned like being in a boxing ring in the jungle?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what Rumbatorium is about. Like that's
Okay.
that's kind of where I was when I was writing that song, as I was thinking, you know, about James Brown and like energy and just like, and that kind of was the flagpole song. Once we had that one, we were like, all right, that cardboard box kick drum within our own means, sweaty as hell, and it's beautiful. And like that just kind of like was the song. And then we started going and writing almost, um I wouldn't say it was in sequence, but
Mhm.
like once we started to get a batch of songs, I put together band, like a private page where I could just kind of put some visuals up and mess with sequencing.
Hmm.
And so as we wrote the album, I would put all the songs into this thing that where I could arrange them in different positions and see the artwork. And it had like, and it was only for my eyes only. It was just password protected private thing, but it
Hmm.
was just for my to be able to kind of mess with that. And then so once we got all the songs in there, it took me a week or two to just kind of sit with it and feel what songs could come where.
Hmm.
And I think that's what led to the sequencing. And it was that's a it's a fun part to do because I think it kind of that's where the overall feeling of the record comes, you know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I would say that you nailed it if you're coming away with it feeling like you basically are putting out one long song that's broken up into 11 parts.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah. And just curious, is there always such a strong visual aspect paired along with your songs while you're writing? Because you keep mentioning, sweaty box in the jungle while you're writing this one song. So is it the same vibe with every other song, but just different visuals and different feelings that you're kind of experiencing while you're writing them?
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And this is where it gets fun because it doesn't have to be true. Like
Mm.
it can be stories, that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
make up and it's fun. Like for example, Jack Tar is about a mermaid, and like a seafarer and like somebody who's like a sailor that leaves like a band guy leaves on tour. Like I could relate in some weird way to being like lost at sea and just being out there and
Mm.
something calls to you, there's something in the distance that calls and like everybody can relate in that way of just being called by something big and of the ocean is of the earth too. So yeah, there's just visuals for each song, little pieces that I can start to inspire from,
Mm.
and it's important to me to find those little things and I just wait for them to hit me and like they can be the most they surprise me. They're the
Yeah.
most like and that's where I think that's what I'm addicted to songwriting is because I just love those little surprises that I can build on creatively in a really fun way. And how do the lyrics come together? And, based on that visual, it's really fun.
Hell yeah,
Hell
it's
yeah.
fucking awesome. Hmm.
Thank you.
And of course, and would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
It has to be happy and relaxed.
Good.
I think because it is, and it's that's what I think I've realized because I've been doing this now for 20 years. Like I've realized that's what I've earned, is that headspace, and no one can take it away. No one, and it's like it protects you
Mhm.
from ever, you know, that it's just like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but headspace is very important to me. So that's why I make sure that my space is inspiring the way I want it, the way, or I
Yeah.
mean, the way it feels good to create, and for me as well as anybody who comes here, or like, and I take that headspace to any studio I'm in too. So if I go to the studio in any different scenario, your headspace can be there with you,
Hmm.
so you can like I think that's what Bruce Lee means when he says be like water. It's like you just become where you are, and the headspace is having that in a good place always makes you unwaveable, and I think my headspace is how can I be healthy, positive, empty, and ready to be, like I can't eat a bunch and go to the studio, you
Hmm.
Yeah.
know. That's
Yeah.
that it just in terms of how mental it gets for me is like it's even physical where I have to feel certain way, and it's just
Hmm.
really just empty in a
Yeah.
good way, in a really good way. So and then I'll have dinner, I'm
Yeah.
not saying I don't
Oh
eat.
yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
just
Of course. Yeah, celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should do in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
I would say it's the type of album that will be awesome on vinyl.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's the type of album that I think is short enough you can just listen all the way through, you know?
Hmm.
And what I would say is that like practice listening, you know? It's a fun
Hmm.
album to practice listening on. And I mean just patience and openness because it's all intentional and from a really great place. And like I feel really good about where we're at and what we're doing and how we're building and how much is, you know, how it's all happening in the moment. And I'm really excited about that. So I think you could really listen to it in any way. And you can skip around, you can listen to it in sequence, you can, you know, but I think be like sonically, I think people have a lot of expectations nowadays.
Mm.
They expect a certain thing. And with our band, like I find pleasure in breaking that expectation. Like I really like defying expectations in a sonic way, you know,
Mm.
not especially a creative, but also in a sonic way. So when you hear it, I think try to let yourself not be uh you know, I just think it's a fun listen, and I think like you might be surprised as far as what you expected, but that's like a very that's what I miss in music. You know, I miss when I want from music. That's what I want from music is to be surprised when I listen and to feel that again, whether it's and there's so many different ways to achieve that, and there's so much great art out there, and that happens to me all the time, and it's my favorite feeling, you know. So it's just yeah.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
That's
Hell yeah.
wonderful. And this one should be super, super quick off top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Cardboard,
Mhm.
intuition,
Mhm.
fun.
Hell yeah.
Those are good.
Lovely.
Hell yeah. And in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
I would love for people to exercise their ears.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. So just kind of be open-minded and exercise your ears. Are you able to kind of
Yeah,
flourish on that?
like it's an opportunity, I think, to hear something different, you know?
Hmm.
And it could be anything. I think like that's the beauty of it, is that like it's kind of I guess yeah, just like kind of uh, having a value in being able to hear something for the first time is something I think that I'm looking for. You know, like I want to hear something for the first time, and I think like I said, there's kind of these expectations that kind of blind people these days because everything and it just like they're supposed to everything's supposed to sound a certain way or something. But I really like the idea of finding a value in the element of like hearing something new, you know, that's
Absolutely.
different.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know, you know, and just that's not just for our record, you know. I think like all across the board, people. I just want people to, or it'd be fun for people to do that, and I'm sure they do, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not
Hmm.
saying they don't. I just as far as this record goes,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Makes sense. All right. And are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the album, positive or negative?
one of my favorite artists is called Bonnie Prince Billy, and
Mm.
his real name's Will Oldham. But I listened to a lot of his records, and he worked with a guy named Mark Nevers. So I just, out of the blue, emailed Mark and asked him if he would help me produce the album or record it, and you know, and we just worked long distance, but he said yes, and like I would send him the tracks, and he ran it through tape and did a lot of really cool stuff and mixed
Awesome.
it. He did all the mixing, and it was a moment in the record that just made me feel very proud and happy to be able to work with someone like Mark who makes great records, and was a pleasure to work with, and I think he took the album to a whole nother level. So that was a memorable time during the record process, and the one I'm very proud of to have his name on our record.
Absolutely.
That's
That's very
super awesome.
wonderful.
Hell yeah.
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 And for the last couple of questions, going to shift completely away from music. So, if you could be one animal for the rest of your life, what animal would you be and why?
Two animals come to mind.
Mm.
A fox, just because my band,
Yeah.
Foxy Shazam.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I've always felt like there's a fox following me around my whole life,
Mm.
almost like my spirit animal.
That's dope.
But uh, but then there's also a monkey because I, when I was little, my mom would always buy me a monkey for Valentine's Day, like a stuffed animal monkey.
Mm.
And I have like a big collection of monkeys. Um, and I've always liked them. I don't know. And I remember one time I had this stuffed monkey and I was throwing it up in the air and it got stuck in a tree and yeah, so that sucked. But I
No,
guess,
wait, did you get it back? Oh my
yeah,
God.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I was about to say that's such a sad story, but you got it back.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, I can't remember how it was a big thing. I can't remember how I think I ended up throwing a stick at it and
Mhm.
got it down or something.
Yeah.
That's
Whew.
awesome.
Okay. Yeah. And if you could have lunch with any celebrity or artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, I've thought about this before. The name that keeps coming to mind is Stanley Kubrick.
Hmm.
Okay.
Just because there's just a big visual, there's a lot of questions I could ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make for an
It would
interesting
be a good
lunch.
conversation.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And for this last question, boom, you're on a desert island. You can bring one movie, one album, and one person. Who and what are you bringing?
Geez, you guys are asking some hard questions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh, um, movie, Dumb and Dumber.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Great movie.
Yeah. Um, and then what was the other one?
Album and person.
Am I allowed to not take an album?
You'd be the first person to say no album, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd choose silence,
Silence. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
because then I could just, yeah.
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 And then for the person that you'd like to bring?
Martin Luther King.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So as I said, that's all the questions I have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
I would just like to say, we're just getting started and there's a lot of exciting stuff coming. So I thank you to all our fans and thank you guys for, you know, wanting to talk to me, and I look forward to everything for everybody to enjoy the music, and to what's to keep working on stuff.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thank you. It's been Eric from Foxy Shazam, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.